Recording. Okay, so welcome everyone. So I see a lot of new faces here. That's amazing. Some familiar faces as well. So this is great practice for those who already know the dyad technique. So I'm going to talk a little bit about really what this is and try and kind of convey how this works. It's something very unusual. This isn't the type of endeavor that we usually do. Usually we sign up for things and we do them, we achieve them, or there's something that we can figure out. But this is a very unique thing. This is really something where we enter into a space of non-doing. We enter into a space of not knowing. You could say the cloud of unknowing, or this beginner's mind. And it's a very unique thing. So I'm going to try to point to that and try to convey really what this is and what this technique that we start out with is, how it works, and how it leads sort of beyond the technique. It's sort of the technique falls away as we go into this practice. So, so, there's something that brought everyone here today. Maybe it was something on YouTube, or a little message came in your inbox, but something has guided you to this today. And whatever that something is, there's something alive, something, maybe there's a desire to know the truth of who you are, of who and what you are. Maybe there's, a desire to know the self, to be one with the self, or the I am, to be free of suffering. There may be these impulses, but whatever it is, there's something that guided us here, and that is alive in everyone that's here. Something is awake, otherwise you wouldn't be here. And the interesting thing is, as I mentioned, the conditioned self, the little self, isn't the one who can do self-inquiry. When we come to this inquiry, there's many forms of dyad practices in the psychology world. Many people might be familiar with those. And they're all sort of working to improve the character in some way, to improve, the conditioned character, to make it more balanced, to make it function better in the world, such as it is. So, so this is not about improving the character. This is about waking up entirely from the character. It's about finding out directly who you are. And some of you might be familiar with, some of the great self-inquiry teachers out there. Ramana Maharshi was perhaps the greatest self-inquiry teacher in the last century, maybe the most well-known. And he said, the inquiry, who am I, is the principal means of liberation. It is what leads to liberation. The inquiry, who am I? And this is the same inquiry that we find in Zen Buddhism, in their koan practices. The teacher will say, find out who you are, inquire into who you are. And the koan and the inquiry is something that the conditioned mind will always fail at. The koan is intended to stop the mind. So we have different koans, like what is the sound of one hand clap, or one hand clapping, or koans like, show me your original face before you were born. So the inquiry, when we have the inquiry with our partner in this dyad that we're going to be doing shortly, it's like that. It's like it's inviting the mind to go silent when the inquiry happens. The mind will always fail to find out who we are. The mind only knows the world of thoughts. It only knows concepts. So the mind will look for answers to who I am. But who I am is deeper than that. So the mind will always fail. And it has to fail. It has to give up. But we're so habituated to operating through the mind, through concepts and memories. And, this is the ocean that we're swimming in, and we don't even realize we're swimming in it. This world of thoughts and concepts. So when we engage in this inquiry, who am I? We're not looking for a concept. We're not looking for an answer on the level of mind. We want to directly experience who we are. So the invitation is, when in that moment of inquiry, tell me who you are. The invitation is to directly experience your true nature. And so this is not like other exercises. The mind has to sort of get used to surrendering in that moment, giving up or not knowing. The mind is used to doing and achieving. So the inquiry itself, that direct inquiry, you could call it a practiceless practice. So it's just recognizing the ordinary awareness that is here right now. Awareness or beingness, I amness. So we're going to do this. We're going to have 2 dyad sessions today, and when we do the intensives, this dyad technique, this practice, we do it for hours and hours, like from early morning till late at night, and typically it takes 2 or 3 days for the mind to really start to let go in this practice. So today we're just going to get a taste of the practice. We're just going to learn the technique. But it's really that single-pointed, continuous inquiry for days that eventually will allow the mind to drop. The body-mind will sort of drop off or go silent, however you want to say it. But there's this sort of silent space where awakening is more likely to happen, and we can't make it happen. So we sort of come to this witnessing space where we're no longer getting caught in the phenomena of the mind. And it's in that space where the witness and the witnessed will sort of collapse, or the mind will drop away. So this is today just a taste of the practice. And we'll be doing intensives, and we have an ongoing 7-day retreat where we do more continuous practice. And the 7-day retreat is a great way to go deeper with these dyads as well. And that's ongoing. That's the perpetual sadhana, so it's perpetual. It's every week a new cycle starts. This self-inquiry at the beginning, it seems like it's an activity. There's an I that's doing something it calls self-inquiry. So, as we go deeper, that doer will drop off. And the way that it drops off is very similar to what happens in every other sort of sadhana system. There's sort of two main knots that bind the sense of I, the sense of who I am, to the conditioned self or the false self, to the body mind that creates that identification. So those two knots are the body always wants comfort. So, it's always looking for pleasure and avoiding pain. And the mind always wants to know. The mind always wants to know, and that knowing is a sort of controlling. It wants to have its hands on the steering wheel. It wants to know, how do I do it? How do I operate? How do I do self-inquiry? So the self-inquiry practice is really undoing those two knots. And we undo those knots in meditation practice. We undo them in all forms of sadhana, the different yogic systems. So we're going beyond our seeking of comfort. We're going beyond our comfort zone, opening ourselves up to feel and experience whatever is going to arise in this practice. And we allow ourselves to not know. So your partner is going to look into your eyes and say, "Tell me who you are." And in that moment, the mind might think it knows what to do in that moment. But if it does, that knowing mind eventually will fail in this endeavor. So in that moment, we allow the mind to be a don't know mind or a beginner's mind, just an open mind. And so this is the first part of the technique, is this intention to directly experience who we are. And, when I say, the technique is to intend to directly experience who you are. It's the exact wording that comes from Charles Berner, who created this technique. So intend to directly experience who you are. And, when you hear that, the mind, can do a lot of things with that. And, all of the great self-inquiry teachers have different sort of pointers. So they might say, be aware of awareness, or be still and know. Ramana would sometimes say, abide as the self. Just notice the awareness that is here now and abide as that awareness. You could say, be aware of I amness. These are all fingers pointing at the moon. So, don't get caught up in the words or the language. We don't want to analyze the finger. We just want to have this intention to have this direct experience, to find out who and what we are. So this direct inquiry is just noticing the I amness that's here, and the sense of beingness. It's the same beingness that was there when you're a little kid. It's the same beingness that will be there on our deathbed. The sense that I am, and there's no quality to that you can point a finger at. There's no that beingness or I amness or consciousness has no shape to it, no location. It's not a sensation. It's It just is. It just is. I just am. Yeah, so we want to directly experience that I amness, entering into this not knowing mind. So when we receive this imperative, we go inward, or we just get a sense of that I amness. You could close your eyes if you want to. It doesn't matter that I amness is here, whether the eyes are open or closed. But whatever, there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's different for everyone. Some people can really get a sense of that I amness when they close their eyes. Others, they feel that it's present just with the eyes open, so it doesn't matter. But if you do close your eyes, it's important when we come to the second part of the technique, which I'll share in a moment. You want to connect with your partner's eyes. So we do this inquiry, maybe we go inward, maybe we stay connected with our partner, it doesn't matter, but when it comes time to share what comes up as a result of this inquiry, we want to connect with our partner's eyes. We really want to convey what's come up as a result of this inquiry. So that brings me to the second part of the technique, which is to convey to your partner whatever comes up as a result of the inquiry. So we want to convey fully to our partner, feelings, emotions, whatever, it's an interesting phenomena when we intend to directly experience who we are. Ramana said, when you first inquire into the self, or not even when you first inquire, but for a long time, what you'll see is the false self, the false I. So we have this intention to directly experience, and then something will move in the mind and body. Something will come up as a result of that inquiry. It can be emotions, feelings, memories. Maybe if you're attuned to energies, you feel energies moving. So you just convey whatever it is that is coming up in the mind and body as a result of doing the inquiry. So we're not just reporting random, mundane phenomena. We want to see what has come up as a result of doing the inquiry. And fully get that across to your partner. And as we go deeper into the practice, sometimes it will be things coming from deep layers of the unconscious mind. So there could be powerful emotions or repressed memories that you've never felt in a long time, and they come up to the surface. So by sharing them fully with a partner, this is how we move that energy out of the unconscious. Charles Berner calls this a clearing process. So we clear the unconscious mind, and those who are, coming from more of a Buddhist background or the yogic background, they call these sankaras or samskaras. These are the conditioned patterns that live in the unconscious, and these are just experiences that somehow got split or pushed away. There's a part of us that said no to these experiences, and they became like little programs running in the unconscious. The I thought is really nothing but a collection of these preferences. So these past experiences and these these things that, I tell myself, I like this, I don't like that, I want this, I don't want that. The I thought is really just made up of these conditioned patterns. So the true self, the I that isn't just a thought, has no preference. It is choiceless. So first we see the all that is false, and in Advaita Vedanta sometimes they call this Neti-neti, not this, not that. So I find out who I am first by seeing all that I am not. I see the false self. So we just clear the mind over and over in this practice, and then what remains, or who remains at the end of that process, and during the process, there's an awareness. All this phenomena is coming and going within the body mind, but who is it that is just aware of that phenomena? So we want to directly experience that awareness, the one that does not come and go. So anything that comes and goes, experiences, thoughts, memories, sensations, that can't be who I am. Truly, it can't be my true self if it is here one moment and gone the next. So this is a sort of stripping away of all that is false, and we arrive at our true nature. So we have 7 facilitators, and we have 67 people here in total. So 7 of those will be the facilitators, so 60 people. So that's a great amount. So the facilitators will be popping in and out of your dyads just to make sure that you're doing the technique correctly. Just make sure that you're maintaining eye contact with your partner, maintaining the witnessing posture. So the witness, when you're the witness does not react or evaluate or respond to anything that's coming up in their partner's inquiry. So I'm going to play a little video here shortly that really goes concisely through the technique, and it has also some specific pointers for Zoom. So I'm not going to go through that prior. I'm going to just let you watch that video. But I would just say, the witnessing is very important. Especially, today we may not be going all that deep, so that the really deep emotions and samskaras may or may not be coming up for people. Probably not, but you never know. So if your partner is going through, a release and a clearing, there's no need to react. The most loving thing you can do is to witness. Just be fully present and hold space for that process. So I'm going to play this little video, and then we'll have a few minutes if there are any questions before we dive in. I'd be happy to answer questions. So I'm just going to cue up this video.
Tell me who you are. Tell me who you are.
Tell me who you are.
Self-inquiry dyads are one of the most expedient ways to bring about kensho, or awakening to your true nature, especially when done in a retreat, which creates conditions of no escape for the egoic mind. Doing self-inquiry dyads via Zoom works really well. I'm going to run through the process and address some of the unique considerations of doing dyads via Zoom so that you have the optimal experience. First, make sure that your camera is set up so that you can look directly into your partner's eyes. When you're in the dyad, it's best that you're paying attention to your partner, looking at their image, not staring at the camera. Please make sure that you are unmuted when you start the dyads, and that your camera is turned on. The meeting automatically begins in speaker view, and because of this, you can see your own video when you're speaking. But you don't want to see yourself when you're speaking, you want to see your partner. So hover over your video and click the ellipses button in your video to display the menu. Then choose Hide Self View. You will no longer see the video of yourself, even though others in the meeting can see the video of you. If you have technical problems or problems with the technique, there's a button to contact the facilitator. Click here to ask the host for help. Outside of the actual dyad process, please do not chat with your partner. If you chat or engage in conversation, you are activating the conditioned mind, and you will lose progress. Once you have entered a breakout room, decide who will give the imperative first.
So what would you like to do first? Would you like to report or be the witness?
If you ask me, I rather would like to be the witness.
The one who gives the imperative will be the witness, and the other partner will do the inquiry.
You'll be the witness? Okay.
Yeah.
So you give me the imperative.
Before giving the imperative, feel your intention to want to know who this being is in front of you. When you say, "Tell me who you are," make it sincere. You really want to know who this being is.
Tell me who you are.
The witness looks directly into the eyes of the inquirer and says, "Tell me who you are." The witness does not nod, make facial responses, or make any sound while witnessing. Do not change the imperative. The imperative is, "Tell me who you are." It is not, "Who are you?" And it is not, "Can you tell me who you are?" If you ask, "Who are you?" or "Can you tell me who you are?" these are questions. The imperative, "Tell me who you are," is not a question, but a command. It is an imperative to authentically communicate as your true self. Understand that this is not a question. Therefore, we're not looking for an answer on the level of the conditioned mind. Tell me who you are is a command. Tell me, convey to me who you are.
Tell me who you are.
The person inquiring intends to directly experience their true nature. Directly means not via the mind. When you receive the imperative, get a sense of I amness, of present awareness, or beingness, that which has always been present, even when you were a little kid. Intend to directly experience who you are. Another way of saying this is, be still and know. Be still and get a sense of that primordial consciousness that is ever present. Depending on the number of participants, sometimes there will be 3 people in the breakout rooms. So instead of a dyad, it will be a triad. In this case, 2 people will be witnesses, while one person does the inquiry. Instead of saying, "Tell me who you are," the imperative will be, "Tell us who you are." When you receive the imperative, you can take a moment. If you want to close your eyes and go inward, that's fine. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Once you have inquired directly, then observe anything that comes up within the self-structure as a result of that inquiry. Just remain open to anything that wants to come up to the surface, and share it as fully as you can with your partner. Whatever comes up as a result of the inquiry,
there's a sense of grace. That's hanging out with tension.
It may be words or sounds, emotions, laughs, cries, memories, feelings.
So the first thing that's noticed that arising is it's like a cloud of what the mind would call intense sensations.
It's important to be free and not censor or suppress any thoughts, beliefs, emotions, or phenomena. So when I received that, I felt a movement of energy, strong sensations in the forehead, in the third eye area. It felt like I was becoming more awake, more present in the room.
Who am I in this experience? I don't know. Just the words are coming, I don't know. Just being here. Just noticing.
Your inquiry will generally be around 5 to 6 minutes. Sometimes it's less, sometimes longer. Don't worry about the length of time. But at the same time, try not to take up all the time. 40 minutes is too long. And don't try to get off the hook too quickly. 1 or 2 minutes is too short. It's important that the witness remains totally neutral. No facial expressions. No positive or negative feedback. This lack of feedback allows the person doing the inquiry to be totally free. There's a sense that they're being heard, they're being listened to, but not judged in any way. There is neither encouragement, nor is there a reaction or contraction to anything being said. The witness should try their best to understand their partner. If what is being said is not clear, the one thing the witness can say is, "Can you clarify that, please?" Can you clarify that, please? Be especially conscious of words like I, me, my, mine, or myself. Don't use these words unconsciously. Find out, who do these words point to? We often use these words to reinforce identification with the false self, with the character. The facilitators will enter your room with their camera off. Simply respond to their prompts, maintaining eye contact with your partner. What's happening in the mind right now? Is the mind trying to do something?
There's so many emotions, like the ego mind is wanting to be inserted like I'm here. Like I'm here. Look at me. Really active, like really. Wanting to take the front seat. So there's a struggle.
When you feel that your share is complete, then you can say thank you and give a little namaste with your hands.
Thank you.
If at any point during the inquiry you feel that you are stuck, you can ask yourself, what is the most real thing that is observable in this moment? How is this exercise making me feel? Is there something being held back that wants to be expressed? Most importantly, have fun with it. Be childlike, spontaneous, and free with your sharing. As you are more and more able to convey who you are, you may let go of the burden of trying to do it right, the burden of knowing, just letting the mind be a don't know mind or a beginner's mind.
Okay, so yeah, that hopefully will make it pretty clear for those who are new to the technique. And yeah, we have a little bit of time if there are any questions coming up. We've got about 10 minutes before we're going to dive in here. If you have any question, just raise your hand, and I see they're in the on the side there. Yeah, there was a question. So yeah, I don't know if I may not have made it totally clear. So we're going to be using the Zoom for everything today. So I'll be creating breakout rooms. We'll be going into the breakout rooms. At the very end, I'm going to talk a little bit about the I Am app that we have as well. So the I Am app makes this a little bit simpler. The app itself, it's designed just for this self-inquiry. So you don't have to decide who's going to be the witness and who's the inquirer. There's a 5-minute countdown timer. So yeah, we'll talk about that at the end. So right now we won't be using the I Am app. So yeah, don't go onto that website. Just stay here, and we'll put you into breakout rooms automatically. And I see a question there, Ellen. Yes. Get you to unmute. Yeah.
We are a couple here and we have one screen. So how would you like us?
One cell phone.
How would you like us to work with that?
Yeah, well, you'll need your own screen. Each participant will need their own screen. So
Let's go at your
yeah.
cell phone.
So if you only have one computer, maybe you can take turn, like one of you do one dyad, and then someone do the next one or something like that, or if you have a phone, phones will work. It's a little more tricky to be on a little screen, but whatever works. Yeah. Whatever works. Yeah.
Okay, we'll try one of those two things. So whatever room you put us in. All right.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks. Any other questions about the technique? Hopefully everything is really clear. It looks like there isn't, so that's great. Why don't we take a 3-minute break or 4-minute bio break, and then we'll come back and dive in. So I'll see you shortly.